Hey, this is Tony.
This is Paul coming at you from the Friends for Life podcast.
And we're go.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Friends for Life podcast here on YouTube. If you can, give me a hand. Go down below. Hit that subscribe button. I know you want to do it. Your heart is telling you to hit the subscribe button. Today, we want to welcome our special guest, Steve Mentrek from Bittersweet Farms, and he talks a ton about his career in the disabilities field and how he has done some really cool stuff with adapting sports equipment and, various objects so that people with disabilities can still participate in sports and activities that they want to do, which is really exciting for us. And he also talks about Bittersweet Farms and his work there. So let's dive right into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Friends for Life podcast. We have Steve Mentrek from Bittersweet Farms as our guest today. Thank you so much for coming.
Steve, thank you.
Thank you for having me here. Great to be here today.
Absolutely. So, before we dive into the nitty-gritty here, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the disabilities field, and then we'll dive into a little talk about Bittersweet.
All right. Well, it's been a long journey. One of those things you don't see coming at the time. So back in third grade, surprisingly or not, when I was in third grade, I had a teacher that he really wanted his classroom to get involved in the special education classroom in our school. So he made his students once a month volunteer their recess time down in the classroom. His motivation was he had a son with autism. We didn't know that at the time, but he was trying to create an inclusive school system just through his own classroom for his son to grow up through. Wow. So when I went there, I started kind of going and, giving up recess as a third grader. You're not really like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was one of those things where I found myself just really connecting with the students in that classroom and really just having fun with it and didn't feel like it was different or bad, weird way type of deal. So I just found myself wanting to go back more. And ever since then, I've, through school, been volunteering in the classrooms and slowly getting into work and employment till when I was in high school, I was working at a summer camp and running a sensory program for kids with multi-disabilities and trying to get them involved in community access and community activities. So for me, it was one of those things that just by happenstance and naturally growing up in the way I did, I found a love and a passion for this field that just kind of kept presenting itself throughout my life.
My goodness. Yeah, our story sounds so similar. Just in the fact of being so young and it instilling such awesome, I guess, partnerships in a way, or friendships.
It's that openness. Like when you're a kid, things don't seem so weird. It just becomes normal to you when you're exposed to it. And for me, at such a young age, having that exposure, when I got to high school, when differences are the main thing everybody's seeing, I wasn't seeing the same differences. I was down in the special ed classroom every study hall, so I wasn't getting detention for talking, I'd be in there helping out and getting connected with those students because that was my new normal. And I think that I thank my teacher for that back in the day, Mr. Murrin, Bill Murrin, fantastic man. But I think he met his mission for his son through the students he impacted. And I'm hopeful to be one that just continues doing that and spreading that mission as well.
Well, keep giving those roses to people like that. You did very well, sir.
Thank you.
What was one of your most impactful moments that you can remember throughout that time?
It definitely was the camp in high school. Okay. That was a moment where I just found myself having a lot of fun and a lot of passion, and it came to a point where I was challenging my own expectations of what was possible for the students because my first year at camp, I come in there and there's kids with various abilities, some that are very independent, able to go and do everything, and then some that needed a lot of support just to get engaged. And that was the group I started kind of funneling to because it was harder to include them in some of the activities, even in the program for kids with disabilities.
Wow.
That was tough. We had to step outside.
Talk about irony, right?
Right, because, when you have somebody that's ambulatory and able to speak up for themselves and has a lot of interest, they're easy to work with and get connected and adapt to. But somebody else that you got to dig in and kind of find out, what do you like? How are you going to communicate what you like to me? that was fun. That to me was like, oh, this is my bread and butter because I'm going to get that smile at the end of this interaction. I'm going to get that benefit for the person, and I'm going to know I'm on the right track through just that interaction we're having. And to me, that spurred a lot of growth in where I looked and what I wanted to do. So, things where people would avoid some of the stuff, I'd be like, well, why can't we go do this? Why can't we go on the corkscrew over at Cedar Point this year? Yes, I know they have some disabilities, but we can make this work, and here's some things we can harness up. And it was that mentality of, I think, looking at it as a naive kid that just wanted to have some fun with everybody I was around, but it really helped me, I think, with my future growth and looking at inclusion and community inclusion. That's been a part of my career since I've started in the professional field. So it's truly been a major influence, and I think a passion of mine to continue through.
Oh man, that's awesome. And honestly, you did, I think, what every informed entrepreneur does, but you asked the right questions. Sometimes people complain about the wrong things, the wrong issues, the wrong problems, but when you ask the right questions, those solutions come a lot more visible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's just a good mindset to have. Is like a lot of people will say, just say no because it's too. They don't want to have to think of how to make something work. Oh, yeah. But a lot of the time, like someone like yourself will just say, "Well, why not?"
Oh yeah,
that's the way to go. I mean, why can't just because someone's like disabled, why can't they do what everyone else is doing?
One place I got to share this story. It was I worked at a place called Matheny Medical Educational Center, and it's in Peapack, New Jersey. Okay. And it's a hospital, residential adult day program facility for individuals with very medically complex disabilities. So I'd say all but maybe one or two people utilize a wheelchair, very much involved physically, but a lot of them had cognitive abilities just like you or I. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those kind of reverses that I have to dig in to get the communication and the skills from you, but you want everything I want. You know everything I know, and you can understand it the same way that we do. Mm-hmm. This young man, he wanted to play dodgeball. I wanted to play dodgeball with the guys, and he looked at me, and he had some contractures in his arm, so he was like, I can't extend, I can't throw a ball. What are you talking about? How are you going to get me to play dodgeball? I was like, well, do you want to first? That's the first question. Do you want to play dodgeball? He says, absolutely. So let's figure this out. So we started looking and investigating and found, you ever play soccer? Either of you soccer fans? Yeah. So you know those skills trainers that have like a belt you put around your waist, an elastic band on it, and you tie it around the ball so you can dribble to yourself? Yeah. Well, we turned that into a dodgeball launcher.
Whoa, nice.
We actually got on the ceilings, there were some lift racks that we had to help transfer people out. Well, we got the one that goes around your belt waist, put it on the ceiling. The other one, we attached a little Velcro hook that he could put his finger around, and he had a power wheelchair. Whoa. So he'd put his finger in, pull himself back, and as soon as he got fully extended, all he had to do was point his finger, and the ball would go flying because the elastic. Nice. All we did was set circles around, staff in the center, and say, everybody, ready, aim, fire. And that was a turning point because it's like, I could throw that for you. I could do this, I could do that. But for you to do it for yourself and then work the process of figuring out how to get there, that was a game changer for me. And they all looked at me that next day like, what's next? What are we going to try next? Who are we going to surprise?
That is so cool. At first, I thought this was going to go a whole different way. I thought about the movie Dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah.
But no, that is so fantastic. Very clever, very smart, man.
Thank you.
Look, did you do any engineering?
No, just get creative, and that's what I think more people need to realize. It's just think outside the everyday box of how you do it and look at how somebody else might need to do it.
Gotcha.
I mean, that mentality, I think, has changed my life because it's less about how I would do it. Like when I approach a situation, I'm not like, oh, well, what would Steve do in this scenario? I'm looking more at, what am I working with here? And if you're looking at what you're working with, you'll always find a solution. It might not be perfect, but you'll find a solution that gets you closer and closer to that goal. And it's that repetition, that continuing, that trying, that's going to make it possible.
Repetition. I love it. That's one of our biggest mantras. If you do it enough, you're going to get better whether you want to or not.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's so funny because like I think as a society we've kind of lost that mindset because like, okay, my phone dies. Like I personally, I'm not going to try and figure out how to fix it. I'm just going to go on Amazon and be like, new phone. So having the ability to adapt to people's, needs is a really, really awesome skill to have. So let's talk a little bit about Bittersweet Farms. I know that's, you guys are like a local legend around here. Not a legend, but like, you do really great work for people with autism and disabilities. And why don't you let people know what Bittersweet's all about? I know about it, and I think it's such an awesome place.
It really is. I was lucky enough to find Bittersweet a few years back to start working with them. Bittersweet, we reside out of White House, Ohio, and we have an 80-acre campus there that serves roughly around 50 people residentially within our program, but then also up to about 70, 80 in our adult day service program as well. We've serviced individuals with autism over the years, residential services, both with waiver homes, community living waiver homes, as well as our ICF residential program. Differences with funding sources, but generally same programs. You guys are probably well aware of that. The other adult day service program that we offer there is very unique. It's a farmstead model program, and that's what I think. We were the first farmstead model program in the United States, and from that we've got a lot of recognition and we've got a lot of connections that we've worked with other companies to extend that model. The biggest thing about that model is the benefits it provides the individuals we work with. There's so many different opportunities for finding meaningful work opportunities that really connect the dots of the purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing and working for that paycheck and understanding, and then also incorporating the aerobic activities and the partnership and purpose of the activities, as well as creating a structured environment there. So, and I just kind of summarized our MAPS philosophy, just plug that in there. But I think those are the features that I think with the environment we have made us so successful, because we can meet people, one, where they're at, help challenge their expectations and develop new skill sets, both, residentially life skills as well as vocational and work skills. But then also give that structured environment for the outlets and the time they need to get through it successfully and as independent as possible. The last thing we want to do is force anybody down a different direction that they want to go, or challenge them in ways that's not beneficial to their development. And so this environment that we have, 80 acres, it's a lot of property, a lot of outdoor space. And we've got a barn out there with animals that we're doing animal care and animal therapy with. We've got a huge gardens program with roughly 8 or 9 greenhouses and hoop houses now that we're running our community CSA program, community supported agriculture. Our memberships, surprisingly this year, sold out like almost immediately. We are through the roof, but it's these programs all provide meaningful work activities throughout the day that our residents and participants from the community come engage with, grow and develop skills, and work with different structured systems like task analysis, task sheets, boxes, so that way we can find out what's going to help aid this person being as independent as they can. Because ultimately our goal is to create that revolving door. We want people to come to us for that time of training, that time of support, that time of need. But if we aren't developing you, we're not doing our job. And that's a line that I know a lot of providers have a different line, but I know ones that do have the same line as Bittersweet. That's the quality.
You know what? I was taught very early on, I think I said this before, but I was taught early on, the less work that you do, the more work you are doing. Because you're teaching that independence. And there was one individual I served ever since I was, I want to say, my early 20s up into my late 20s. And he went from a 24-hour care waiver to 4 hours a week.
That's awesome.
Every year we were decreasing and including more alone time. And it was just so great to see him get to the next level of his independence.
And that timeline too, like you just inquired, like some people expect these results overnight, but these could happen over long time. And we've always, I think as professionals in the field, we've got to take that time to step back and look, what progress have we made sometimes? Because sometimes those little steps we might miss, and it might be the next opportunity that we need to take with them. So always, I love hearing those types of stories.
Oh
and
man,
sharing.
I started really early professionally, but I remember around 20 or 21, the Paths program. You guys hosted some of the Paths program, and I came to Bittersweet and had some of the best potato soup in my life. I still hold my wife accountable to making soup to that status. And when I found out that like you guys grew it, the individuals made it, served it, cleaned up, I was like, this is amazing. This is so good to see. And it wasn't one of the things that Paul and I try to get out of are like fluff pieces. It's not always, it's just so cute. And no, I'm amazed at the fact that someone who has so many challenges and limitations will not take no for an answer and learn and grow.
That's been my daily inspiration. Like when I have a tough day, I don't look to anybody else, but then go to the person I'm working with, because if I get to connect with you and get that smile and see what I'm helping impact you positively, that changes my whole day. And I think that's something that in the field more and more people need to have and remember, because it's in those moments of stress and trial, which are a given. They're going to be there no matter what. But that's what we need to hold back on, so that way we can break through those walls and next steps, so that way the successes and the experiences of growth actually happen.
Heck yeah.
So why don't you go through your position at Bittersweet and then kind of tell what you do, and then we'll kind of talk about the individual programs you have, because you have a lot of different things going on. So it's really interesting stuff. So
absolutely. So within the day program, I oversee our White House day program as well as our day program in Lima. We have a smaller program down there. It's a very similar model. But within both those programs, our focus is vocational experience as well as life skill development for the participants that come. In White House, we have a number of paid work opportunities and employment opportunities within the Gardens program, our barn and animal care program, groundskeeping with 80 acres of farm and property. We've got a full grounds crew out there running everything from push mowers to the X Mark zero turns that we have out there. So, I mean, it's really awesome. Then we also have a creative arts program that does a lot of production arts that, I mean, if you want some cool stuff from ceramics to canvas paintings, they do some amazing things. And
we have room for...
I might have to bring something in to decorate these walls for you.
Please.
But we actually are just getting ready to open a storefront up as well on property, which is really exciting because we're going to highlight all this. We've always had like a makeshift store in the office, but now we've got a dedicated space that we've done some major renovations to, and it's creating a new program outlet for us to do customer service, retail training, those types of things within our storefront. So real excited about that coming up. Not to mention a little sneak peek, we've got a mobile vendor unit we're working on getting. We'd like to get more out in the community. So like those farmers markets and craft shows, we always had a lot of labor with that, and we needed an extension that we could just grab and go. So this, this really is going to give us an opportunity to have a mobile unit that we take to these locations with a consistent setting and environment for everybody to work in, and really then challenge ourselves through the variables of the community. Come to us, great, but we're also coming to you now too. So
no excuses, people.
Exactly.
Is that going to be mostly like selling the produce that you grow, or
it'll be the produce? It'll also be our artwork, and then once after COVID, I mean, everybody's tired of hearing it, but it's had some impacts on our programs, and our culinary program was one that we had to put on hold until we get through all this COVID stuff, just because of some of the regulations. We didn't want to take any risks and really wanted to focus in on everything else. But
I get that.
When that day comes, trust me, you'll get a batch of cookies here, and you'll remember why Bittersweet cookies are the best cookies that are around.
That's one of the things I saw on the website. I was like, order cookies. Oh, come on. It's closed for now.
I've been dying this past year. I mean, they got me on day one of orientation when they came out with it was the salted caramel chocolate chip cookies.
Oh my goodness. I am not a big cookie. Give me some donuts or like some
We
cake?
dabbled with that. We had a community partner. We jumped in Bleak House Coffee Shop downtown
Really?
Toledo.
Oh wow! Shout outs to them. Well, we got to get back on it because
Absolutely.
I'll do some donuts. Expect like one of my shout outs to Holy Toledo.
Okay.
They do this birthday cake donut, and the top of it has like the birthday cake crumbled icingness, and it's heaven. But it's like every bite, I swear, is a dentist's bill. But it's so worth it. Like at the end, you're jacked up on sugar, but your taste buds have been in heaven.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
it's all good. So big shouts to Holy Toledo. We love you guys.
So the actual like farming programs that you have, how intensive are those? Is that like somebody comes daily and works on? Because that's like
yeah.
I couldn't grow a flower. I kill everything. So that's a lot of work going into that.
It is a huge labor task. We typically have at least, I'd say 17 or 18 participants rotating throughout the week that go through on a regular basis, heavy work. And then we'll have an additional probably 15 to 20 that we're working through training in that area, because our whole goal is to start with training, graduate up to more independent paid work, and then eventually get you out to that community employment. So we've got the independent crew, we've got the training crew, we've also got a group of seasonal workers we bring in to help supplement and offset the evening and weekend work, because our day program runs Monday through Friday, 8:30 till 3. So therefore, we've got some hours that we need in the evenings and weekends with extra support, especially during the summer when it gets extra hot and they're having tons of watering.
Yeah.
But we do everything from seed to table, basically. We start everything on our own. We begin to warm up the greenhouse in January usually, and we've put stuff in the ground in early March, I think, is usually when we start putting stuff in the ground for the spring CSA season.
I was going to ask equipment costs, because just from a personal standpoint, I've noticed a lot of like mulch and stuff is like really it's cheap right now in a lot of places. Are you guys like kind of prepping in advance to try to load up or anything like that?
Yeah, we do stockpile on a lot of things through our local vendors that we've had contracts with for years now. Gotcha. And most of it's getting like the pre-mixed soil that we need for our seedlings, stuff like that. The mulching and everything in the greenhouses isn't as bad because we've started working some no-till practices in there.
Gotcha.
That make it a little easier, where we're not getting the weed issues we've had, and play with different experiments with bugs to get rid of pests, like bringing in the ladybugs to eat the aphids.
Well, yeah, and I was
going
to ask that too. Are you guys certified organic?
We're not certified, but we are as close to it as you can get without going through it. We have we use no pesticides and none of the extra fertilizers that are non-organic. We use a lot of natural products on everything we do there.
I'll eat it.
Yeah.
I have ate it.
How does the program work? I know you said it was at CSA. It's kind of like a share. Like, what do you call it?
Community supported agriculture program.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how does that work? Because I know there are other ones you can sign up for. I didn't know you guys offered that, so that's really awesome. Actually.
Yeah. So basically, in January, we'll advertise our 3 seasons: a spring, summer, and fall season, and each one's 9 weeks of produce being delivered to that family. We have everything from small shares to large shares, which can feed a single person, all the way up to a family of 4 for the whole week. And so people will sign up online. We usually have a wait list from returning customers that they'll get first dibs, and then we'll open it up to the rest of the community, which is why it kind of sells out so quickly. From that, though, we basically start growing in March, and then come May, you're going to get notice that your delivery is going to be ready on May 2nd, and we'll meet up with you on this place at this date, this time and location, and get you your produce. They take it home and return the empty box to us the next week, and we just do that rotation for 9 weeks then. And it does give us a lot of different opportunities, because then you have not just the planting and maintaining of the gardens, but now you have the customer service, the delivery, the cleaning, and all of the extra jobs that go along with that too.
That is awesome.
It's like HelloFresh, but better.
Personalized, and you actually get to meet somebody in the process too.
Yeah. Not just frozen meals shipped to your door. Do you guys have anything? And Tony and I have tried to steer away from talking about COVID so much, but like, say, once everything's all said and done and we can live our normal lives again, whatever that means at this point, nobody's really sure. But you got any cool things coming up besides, the kind of traveling
Absolutely.
farmers market kind of deal?
Yeah, one thing we're really looking forward to right now is summer camp getting back. There's nothing that puts a smile on everybody's face more than a bunch of kids having fun all summer long. And I think that's a sign that we are getting closer to normal, that we're able to offer that this coming summer. So we're real excited to get that going. It starts on June 14th, and obviously it's going to be different with some of the restrictions we have to work with, but just getting back to some of that, being in person, being together. I mean, we've reopened our day program this past week, and seeing the faces back out in the areas and the work and the collaboration going on, like it's giving me a lot of energy right now, that I'm feeling a lot better than I have been throughout this, because being disconnected, I think that's what did our field a disadvantage, and being disconnected really, we just got kind of numbed out to a lot of stuff. And I think this being back together, seeing the personal reactions and connecting again, that's what I'm excited about. So all these programs like summer camp coming back, we've got a social rec program that goes on the evenings that we're going to be looking at bringing back over the summer as well for youth with autism and other disabilities. And just getting back out to the community, the farmers markets and stuff. I mean, those are great ways to connect with the big greater community and represent our artists and workers.
Yeah. So with all the different programs you offer, a lot of this stuff is like outdoors related. I'm huge into like being outside. For me, it's kind of like where I go when I'm stressed out or something. Do you think that has an impact on like anybody, not only like staff, individual, anybody?
Yeah, because you guys do like hikes and everything too.
Every
like,
day.
I was gonna say, because I would drive by every now and again, because I do live in Swanton, and sometimes I just like to take the back roads and
beautiful
and
area out there.
have the wind blow, and I stop by the butterfly house and stuff. It's kind of my calm down time. But yeah, I'm always seeing groups of people going through, and I'm like, wow, I need to need to start somewhere.
The back half of our property is all woods. So we have 40 acres of woods that are trails connecting up to Camp Courageous and Oak Openings. So we go through there daily. And I think that outlet it's huge. It's huge, because somebody could be having a terrible day and just need to go walk. And that resets and kind of grounds the person back to, okay, I could take that next step forward. I'm regrouped. I'm ready to go about my day differently now. I found that for myself, even when I've had a tough meeting and I'm like, nope, not talking to anybody. I'm going straight to the trail for a minute. I just need 10 minutes, do my walk. I'll come back. And it's that being in nature, the quiet, the calm, and just feeling grounded for a minute, I think really could help anybody in a scenario. But if you're anxious, that's my outlet too as well. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of friends that work in the park districts, and I've been talking with them and trying to get some of our clients involved in the outdoors, because it's such, even if they don't know, even people like family and friends that don't know how therapeutic that can be, because that's, 3 days a week I'll wake up and just go run a mile at Oak Openings, just because it's like you clear your head right at the beginning of the day. It just sets it off good, unless it's raining, then it kind of stinks. But try to get out there anyways. So
David Goggins and stuff.
Yeah, not quite.
Anyone who doesn't know who David Goggins is, please Google him. I love that guy. He is awesome. He has a lot of energy.
I need some more of that.
Right.
So one thing that we kind of like to talk about, since we're all working here in the disabilities field, lots of ongoing, progressive issues. We're trying to, push for people's rights and more awareness of disabilities. That's why we started the podcast, because we want just more eyes and ears on this, because it's not something that people in everyday society talk about. And we've got a lot of new stuff going on locally. They just announced a mayor's office on disability, all this cool stuff. We actually just talked to someone from the Ability Center the other day about that. But
nice.
Is there any kind of stuff that you see on a daily basis that you'd like to maybe see changed a little bit for people with disabilities, because they don't always have the visibility in the public spotlight that we'd like to see?
I don't know if it's anything specific, but more of like a request of the community. I think the community needs to not be so afraid of differences, in all aspects, because with disability, I think I've heard so many places as a former role with I used to go out and try and open up doors in the community to basically say, hey, somebody's got an idea of what they want to do. They want to connect, and you've got some resources. Let me help open this door.
Right.
If we open more doors, we'd have so many more opportunities and growth within both the regular community that we call regular normal community.
Quote unquote.
They would benefit so much more just by opening their doors because of how it could help other problems that may exist or other things that need accommodated in their organization or their business just by finding a way to accommodate somebody different.
Yes.
You know, so I think open your mind to inclusion, open your mind to what can I do to open a door for somebody else. And I think allow the outcomes of what comes from that be what they are. Don't define those, just define the open door.
Yes.
Because that's where I found like, in the community, the great things happen when you're not trying to force it. The only thing you're trying to do is help guide it and keep things open and allow people to bring their passions and their strengths and their interests together to do the real work. You know, I could talk all day about it, but until you guys sit down and connect and actually put in that time together for that relationship, the growth, the development, and the outcomes aren't going to happen. We're just going to talk about it.
There's only so many policies that can be implemented.
Right. Like I could do something for a rule, or I could do it because I want to do it. And that's what we need to try and create more of just wanting to do things. Why? Because I have a passion that somebody else wants to share or benefit from.
And that's something too that, you know, I've been trying to figure out myself is, okay, so I have all these connections at the parks. I could go and start a program today where I say, hey, let's get people kayaking, let's get people hiking. But if also on the flip side, if none of the individuals want to do that, then that's not up to me. I can't just shove someone in a kayak and be like, let's go. Like, they have to want to.
Like, dude, I wanted to go bowling.
Yeah, this sucks. This is cold and wet. I don't want anything to do with this.
Absolutely.
You know what? This is something I actually wanted to ask Dustin as well. And everybody, Dustin is the executive director of Bittersweet. But do you guys only service people with autism or...
Now that is our traditional model. We have worked with other individuals with other disabilities with similar characteristics to autism. So a lot of focus when it comes to behavioral supports, behavioral challenges, communication struggles, structured environments, those types of things. If somebody could benefit from that, we've worked with those individuals as well.
That's why I didn't get hired when I applied there back in the day. I am not a structured person like that when it comes to what I do in this field. As a DSP, I was more of a sporadic, hey, let's do, how about this? Oh, that sounds good, cool, let's go do it. You know, when I had to work and it was like, okay, 2 p.m. I have to make dinner, 2:30 I have to do this. Like, oh man, that was tragic. Like the only thing I did on a time in a timely manner was like meds. That was the only thing I had structured now.
And that's the thing. It's a weird structure, but it's one that has built-in flexibility.
There you go. Good. Nice. Oh man, you guys are great.
Thank you.
I was going to say, nothing's changed too much from Tony's philosophy on randomness. So we'll just get a call like, hey, let's film something today, right now. I'm like, all right, I'm away. But so another topic we always bring up, I don't know if this applies to you or not, but Tony and I love to read like audiobooks. Is there any kind of stuff that you like? It doesn't have to be disability based. Any reading that you're really into or
I like a lot of like self-help, personal growth type stuff.
My guy.
Awesome.
I knew we were like one. We have the same spirit animal, I bet.
Absolutely. It just because you can always grow yourself and you always got to look at some different perspectives in life. And in this field, I need as many perspectives as I could possibly get to be able to do the job that I do. So that's always been something that interests me. I can never follow a story too long because I lose interest and stop paying attention.
Yeah, we tell them all the time. Look, if it's a story in a book, I'd rather watch it a movie unless it's a biography.
Amen.
I'll read a biography.
So is there any particulars that stand out to you maybe that you would suggest to other
or
people?
favorite authors or anything?
You know, Wayne Dyer is always one that stands out to me. He's the one that focuses a lot on intentionality and why you do what you do, and then connecting with the greater purpose of what you are here to serve others with. always loved his books and insights, and he gives a really broad perspective of it, not just a religious or a personal growth or a self-help approach. It's kind of a broad spectrum of views all melded together.
Nice. Well, definitely, man. Let us know like what one of your favorite reads is of his that you can bring, and we will put it like right. I think
Absolutely.
Here would be a good spot.
It'll be in the bottom corner.
Say, Manifest Your Destiny was one that really changed my outlook
Nice.
on things and helped me take kind of control of where I was going to take my career to over time. That was one I read right outside of high school going into college, and it really helped form my next steps.
There you go. What'd you go to college for?
Ooh, this is a weird one. All right. So I started as special ed and then realized I didn't want to go teach for a test. Basically, like that was when Bush had the No Child Left Behind Act. There were a lot of things for me that I was like, nope, I just don't agree with. So they had Slippery Rock University in Pennsylvania is where I went. They had a subsidy program called Community Programming for Americans with Disabilities.
Oh,
What a name.
wow!
Right?
I'm about to say that sounds good.
It's a special ed degree without the education requirements. So
Gotcha.
it's more of a disability studies, prepares you for a variety of fields you can go into within the disability field. So it was like a springboard program for me. I also took an adapted physical activity minor to go with that. So really was interested in just how we can keep people active, engaged, and involved in regular community life in any way, shape, or form.
Awesome.
From there, went and got my master's degree at the University of Toledo for recreation therapy and administration,
nice.
which is kind of what the whole play with a purpose came from
Heck
for the
yeah.
rest of my life. I've told my mom I'd prove her wrong.
That's right. You see that? He knew what he was doing.
I got a degree that said I could play.
Room full of people that love to prove people wrong, I think, right here.
Right.
Awesome.
I live by that philosophy.
You know, when I was younger, my dad asked me, the common question that we see in every, I think, maybe it was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People that the question first came to me, but I could be wrong. But it was put, what would you do if you never had to worry about money again? For the rest of your life, what would you do? And I think just being a smart ass, one day I was like, just sign my name. And he said, you better get real good at writing your signature. But the irony of it is, that is like 90% of my day. I am signing paperwork, approving things or not approving things.
Right.
Like that is, and now it's even gotten so lazy, I click more than anything.
The shortcuts.
Yeah, I don't even have to put my name. I just put N-O. Sin.
That's the best way to be. Yeah, I have weird degrees. I have an anthropology degree, so I don't. Most people are like,
Interesting.
why?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I learned how to interview people,
Right.
and now I have this job. That's why. But another thing that we're really into is we've been trying to like watch and stay up on disability news. I didn't realize how many like awesome disability news websites
Yeah.
there are, and movies coming out now. And I think we talked about this on every podcast a million times already for
But
the last
it's
like month.
fun.
But there's a documentary called Crip Camp that the Obamas put out. Did you see that?
That was
We're just
awesome.
losing our minds over. It's so hilarious and impactful and just like raw. I love that movie.
And you got to hear the voices of the people that were
Yes.
driving it. That was
Yeah.
the coolest part. It's not that like, I don't know, like in the disability community, I feel like sometimes the greater population looks at it as like the typical kid that's on a poster for Special Olympics and this fluffy go lucky type personality, but there's every personality under the spectrum that could have a disability, and they're going to advocate the same way every other person in this country would for something
Exactly.
they believe in.
Yeah.
That was a cool movie.
Yeah, man, I love the fact that it gave us this idea of not just what we want to see change. It gave us the idea of knowing that the individuals already know what they need change. So still to this day, man, I'm growing and I'm learning. I'll be
Absolutely.
36 very soon, and I think that this brain of mine is still taking in more and more information, and sometimes I have to check myself, like, oh wow, that's not how it should be. And Paul and I we were talking about this. We're working on getting more individuals on, so they can speak their truths, because we have some of our people, but just the same way we're reaching out and working with other agencies, we want to do that with the other individuals as well, because they need to have the opportunity and a platform to speak for themselves as well.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So we're pushing it.
You know what I think that brings us to, Tony?
I know what it brings us to. Rapid fire.
Uh-oh.
Favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we do here is I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The quicker you answer them, the better. If it's too weird, we'll just edit it. But we like it to be spontaneous, nothing too crazy. But question number 1, what's your favorite restaurant?
Gosh, you got me on that one. I'll have to go with Reverend's down in BG.
Okay. Not familiar, but we'll definitely have to
Great
find out.
little place right off of Main Street in Worcester there. It's real small little bar, kind of burger bar type place.
Nice.
Really good.
Okay. You definitely have to sit down there one day if they let us. Favorite movie?
What Dreams May Come.
Oh, wow.
With Robin Williams.
Wow.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh my goodness.
It's a good one, but I haven't seen it in
years.
Yeah.
It's deep.
There's a dichotomy on this show where Tony knows every single movie that everyone's ever mentioned, and I'm always like, I've never heard that. Like, you've never watched The Lion King? I'm like, I never heard of it. I don't know.
Oh, no. What Dreams May Come. Great movie. Great movie.
I'll have to check it out.
All right. And now this last one, I don't know if it's going to work for you, but we'll see. The first time you were fired.
I haven't been fired.
I knew it wasn't going to work.
Been.
Why am I like the only person who've ever been fired? I feel like, you know what, Paul, you're
Problem
fired.
with authority. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see you guys later.
No, you're rehired. Okay. Don't leave me alone. I'm lonely. No, but like that is remarkable in and of itself.
Oh, thank you.
Tony, most people don't get fired.
Man, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
But hey, I mean, you always have your challenges.
Right.
You always have your challenges.
Yeah, I think a lot of my firings, it was always. I mean, I was wrong. I was wrong, but I'm better.
And that's it.
So
you
much
grew
better.
through the experience.
Yes, I did my what was that 12 steps. I apologized and I took acceptance and stuff like that. But yeah, so.
Yeah. So before we wrap up here, if you could maybe share some info of where people can reach and learn more about Bittersweet and, social media, all that fun stuff. And we'll put links all over the place.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you go to bittersweetfarms.org, that's our website where you can pretty much get to any of our signups, our online store, and all of those options. Our Facebook, we're on Facebook, Instagram, all the different social media, Twitter. If you just search for Bittersweet Farms, you'll be able to find us on there, and we are posting constantly. One thing that we've been doing recently for the online store is posting our Market Mondays, highlighting a new item that we've brought into the market from one of our artists. It's been selling stuff like hotcakes. I mean, in the past 9 months, I think we've more than tripled our sales just on the online store with this marketing ploy. So it's been a really good opportunity and a great way to see some of our artists and the work we're doing.
All right, yeah.
Are you guys in a hiring? Are you
always?
Yes,
this field. I mean, in the field, we're all hiring, but right now, in particular, we are looking for our Pemberville school program. We're looking for DSPs working first shift on that end of the things. Our school extended school year program, ESY, and summer camp program. Counselors looking for support staff for that as well. And in our residential and adult day programs as well, we always have openings available. So always look for it. Passionate people are always welcome aboard, and you'll fit right in with the group of people we have there.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, if you guys smile and do anything like Steve does, I would definitely reach out to them. They have a wonderful just they have a wonderful presence in our field of work, very highly respected, not only by us at Friends for Life, but throughout the nation, honestly.
Thank you.
So, yeah, man, I'm so happy that you got to come on, and, hopefully it wasn't too bad in here.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. This has been fun. I really appreciate getting out and having the chance to talk about what we do. So thank you.
No, thank you. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this episode of the Friends for Life podcast here on YouTube. If you can, help us out. Go down below, hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra helpful today, head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave our podcast a rating or review. This helps get the word out about disabilities and advocating for those with disabilities, which is the whole goal of the podcast. So if you do that, we'd really appreciate it. I want to thank Steve for coming on today and sharing all of his awesome stories. Such a positive and happy guy. It's really nice to be around people like that. So thank you, Steve. Go check out Bittersweet Farms and learn about all the awesome stuff that they do over there. And as always, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.